Okay, we're actually going to start off with Sichas. So we were looking at paragraph number 32. So a special thank you to Reb Zeitlin and Nachman, all the Mesadrin, and my Rebbe, Reb Chaim Kramer, Breslov Research Institute, for making all this possible. So we're looking at paragraph Lamed.
Who's your Rebbe?
Rabbi Chaim Kramer. 49 years.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 50. Paragraph 32. We read the first three lines. I'll just read it very quickly again, and then we're going to go to the second paragraph. Oh, sorry, we did do this. We started this. We were looking at the second paragraph. I'll start the first one just so we can get back into the flow. We were talking about how emunah, conviction / faith in Hashem, is so powerful it can actually cause a person to come to rotzen, and rotzen, a desire, a very, very, very deep craving, where a person just feels he has to be close to Hashem. It's a very, very, very powerful type of a desire. We looked at the marshal of the Rambam's description of real teshuvah is where a person can't get his mind off Oisa Isha, a particular woman, and that is only meant as a dimyan, just a reflection of the love for Hashem that a person is capable of. Love is a spiritual attribute because the mind is powered by your neshama, and your neshama is chelik elokam mimal. So the mind, which is really a manifestation of the neshama, and the fact that you can think is also a manifestation. It's powered. Your thinking is powered by your neshama, by your mind. So, being that that is the real meaning of you being created, B'Tselem Elokim, chapter 1, verse 26 in Genesis, in Bereshis, that the real you is the reflection of the unlimited power of Hashem in you. So what does that mean, that you are a reflection of unlimited power? There's no end how much love you can have for your Creator. There's no end how much yira, which on the lower level would be actually fear of being out of rapport with Hashem, and that the lowest level is to be in fear of the consequences of being out of rapport. But the yiras haroimamus is an awesome fear of the greatness of Hashem. It's a poor analogy, but if you've ever been to Grand Canyon and you just look over the edge there, you can't help be awed by the extraordinary magnitude of the depth and length of the canyon. So it's an awe of Hashem's greatness. So that's a different type of yira than yiras oynesh. So the emunah is capable of leading a person to a level of ratzon that's higher than chokhmah. We talked about this last week. The chokhmah is a baseline wisdom that ordinarily we would think is only accessible because we've put in so much effort to master it, which is true to an extent. Yagati umatzati tamin. But that's an interesting language of tamin. But what we're describing is that it's a person's capable of way, way beyond. And that's only beyond Chokhmah, and the greatest Chokhmah, the deepest of Chokhmahs throughout the Torah, is all accessible through Ratzon. So in paragraph Lamed Beis, Sarech lechazek t'asmoi be'emunah, we read this on Sichas Saran. I'm just going to finish this one off, because we mentioned Lamed Beis through Lamed Ches is talking about the greatness of emunah. Sarech lechazek t'asmoi, a person should strengthen himself be'emunah. So the first thing to do to get strong is surmira. Don't get involved in any type of speculations klal at all. Only believe in Hashem with absolute emunah, not have to be distracted by any other speculations. So further down, I think, do you have it also in yours where it suddenly gets bolded? You do or don't?
It's the next paragraph. Yes. So
okay. When a person goes with absolute tmimus, which we'll see means a complete, that's what tmimus really means. Complete emunah, only that, bli shum chakiros, with zero speculations. How did Hashem create himself? What happened before time? What existed before the world will happen after the world? All those are mentioned in as questions not to ask in Chagiga Perik Beis Mishnah Aleph. Yachol lizkei shiyazo el Hashem Yisbarach. If a person just goes with emunah, he can be zeicha to Hashem helping him. Sheyavoi lebchinas ratzon. He'll come to the category of ratzon shu lemala mechachma, which is even higher than chachma. It transcends it. Ki be'emes chachma dikdusha, real chachma of kedusha is lemala me'emunah. It's even higher than emunah. Aval af al piken anu tzrichim libli leilich b'chachmas hafkirus rak be'emunah levad. Ki ha'emunah hu davar chazak meod. Emunah is extremely powerful. V'azai kushalech be'emunah levad. If a person only goes with emunah, libli chakirus b'chachmas, azai zeiche la'avoy lebchinas ratzon shu lemala afilu mechachma tahanu shizke she'yeh loy ratzon muflok chazak meod elav yisbarach. It's not too dissimilar to the language we saw in Rambam last week, Perak Yud Halacha Gimel in Hilchos Teshuvah. She'yeh loy ratzon muflok chazak meod elav yisbarach b'shtoikus nimratz. He'll have an extraordinary desire, craving, love to be close to Hashem, nimratz moed, and he'll be running after it in the extreme. He'll start screaming to Hashem. He won't know what to do. He just can't stop thinking about Hashem. Yesh hakran. However, there's a speculator, that's hiding inside the mind, heart of every human being. And that's a baldava. Baldava literally means the owner of a word. He's really good at saying, "You really sure this is going to work? You see how far you are. It hasn't worked till now. Still not a lamda and still not a bucky. Just give up. There's no point." And before I know it, that hakran, that baldava is going to persuade me. That's what a baldava is meant. He's got the power of words. That's one of the names of the Yetzer Hara. It's not one of the 7 that the Gemara gives us, but Rav Nachman calls him a baldava and a hakran, amongst other names as well. It's very interesting. Be'ez Hashem, one day we'll look at all those names. About 15 different names total. 7 in Chazal, and Rav Nachman adds on others, which he has Makoros for. Not he inventing any of them. The only one he, if you want to call invents, so to speak, is Koach HaDimyon. He says you've got to call the Yetzer Hara the power of imagination. Good morning, good morning. Shehu machnis chakirus belev ha'adam. What's this baldava busy doing? He's busy injecting, not a good word today, machnis, he's imbuing speculations in the mind of a person. You have to subdue him. You have to overcome that thought, and divorce it. Expel it. Get out of your mind. Once it's divorced, expelled, it doesn't belong in your house, it's expelled from your home. And your real home is your mind. Divorce it. You no longer have a relationship with this this thought. Thank you. So that is in Lamed base. If you turn over the page.
So if I may ask,
please.
We were talking last week about how to create ratzon.
Yes.
And to summarize what the Rebbe is saying here, what it says is that if you find yourself that you are lacking ratzon, your only solution is by having a minute where
yes.
You surrender completely and you go betmimus completely.
Yes.
Now the problem is that tamimus, I have this devil sitting in me that is constantly busy with fakira. So simultaneously, I have to do 2 things actually. You have to really strengthen your amuna and have it to me was complete.
Right.
And get rid of that thought that tells you, hey, how and what and how come this is stupid to think so, and this doesn't make sense.
Right.
First, let's find the logic of it. Get rid of all that logical
speculation
of the desire of understanding everything logically.
Right.
Eliminate it and ignore it.
Right.
Basically. But he doesn't say only ignore it. It's actually get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Expel divorce.
Expel that, meaning tell your mind it's a mindset basically.
Right.
So tell your mind you don't have to know. Don't even go there, because if you're going to go there, you're going to accomplish that. You're going to actually be a very good speculator. You will be very smart, but on the other hand, you will lose that lottery that I have for you.
Right,
which
huge
is
lottery.
Ratzon.
Yeah. And so, the prize for the lottery is Kiruv to Hashem, being really, really close to Hashem for eternity. So we're talking about huge stakes. We're 100% correct. We're going to see in a few moments another level of this where Rav Nachman talks about 4 levels of emunah. So we're going to see that soon also in Sichas Saran. And then, but Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope I'm going to get to the pshitas and tmimus that I've been promising for the last 3 weeks. So,
talking about Rutzen, sorry, good morning.
Yeah, please. Good morning.
Talking about Rutzen, talking about Hashem's Rutzen or my Rutzen?
My Ratzon to be close to Hashem. My Ratzon to do His Ratzon.
So the high level from Chachma is Keser. Keser is Rutzen and Tana.
Yes.
So it's my Keser?
The real you is your das. Ikar Adam hu das. The das is really a manifestation of the mind's ability to think, is a manifestation of the Chilek Elokam Mima'al. So being that we have been put inside a physical body that physically needs sleep and food and drink, and the first couple of years of our life we're 100% dedicated to just eating and drinking and sleeping.
What's the definition of Chilek Elokam Mima'al?
If we would take, Hashem has to speak to us in our language. So when he tells us, and it's based on the pasuk in Eov, Chelek Elokam Mima'al, it's actually a pasuk, I think Perek Lamed Aleph, sorry. It means that we are actually a portion of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's nothing in the Bria that can exist without Hashem's Ratzon.
Can I put in more words?
Yeah.
A portion means opportunity for Ein Sof to represent himself in this world.
You can put it that way.
Without me, he doesn't have this opportunity of being in Shlomi in Olam Asiyah.
Yeah, we can go that route too. That makes total sense. In Lamed Gimel, we're going to look, hopefully still today, Torah Lamed Gimel, where it will be touching a little bit on the esoteric that you're bringing back down to earth, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, so to speak.
But I don't understand is what Rutzen means, brings a minna, or a minna brings Rutzen.
So according the way he's describing it here, is that the starting point is really emunah, but if you think about it, I have to have a rotzen for that emunah too.
Exactly.
So it all starts from rotzen. That's correct.
To
So
be megarish that absolute desire to have to make sense and to be chayker. This devil, what we actually suffer from is that we have a chakran in ourselves, which is actually contradicting completely.
Doubt.
It's more than doubt. It's someone will speculate in it in a form of doubt. Someone will speculate in a desire just to really logically build it and build a pyramid in his own mind until it makes sense, until he sees a Kadosh Baruch Hu with his own eyes and he understands how things are done. Now, that desire is actually a disturbance of a minna. Now you need a desire, you need a rotzen to get rid of that. And in order to have that, to really have what he's saying is that it's impossible to obtain that roots in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the real roots, until you have real emunah pshita. To really develop a strong emunah pshita, you have to give up of that logical desire.
So a mashal which we've shared earlier is someone gets an opportunity to have a meeting with Elon Musk, the richest man in possibly world history. I'm not sure if Paray might have been more wealthy, relatively speaking, to scale. I don't know. And Yosef was the one who made him such a mega wealthy person. But if you go to Elon Musk and you finally get into him and you got, 20-minute opportunity, and you say, look, I'm really grateful for you giving me your time. Could you lend me a quarter? Now, everyone's going to say this is pathetic. Either guy's an imbecile, totally lunatic. But how does he not know who he's asking money from? He's not even asking for money. He's just asking for a loan. So the problem is, I don't have a munah in how great is Hashem that He can do anything for me. So we're going to look at that in a few moments when we look at the 4 levels of Emunah that Rav Nachman actually mentions. So I'm going to ask you to turn over the page, I think where it says Ube Emes, Emunah hu Inyan Chazak Me'od.
We have it on the same page actually.
Okay.
Just on the other side, on the left side.
Okay, good. You got the place? Ube Emes.
It's mine.
In reality, Emunah hu Inyan Chazak Me'od is an extremely powerful topic. V'chayav chazakim oid al yedei emunah. A person has a very powerful, strong life with emunah. It keeps him stable. It's very hard to fall. And when he falls, he'll pick himself up straight away. Why? Because when he has this emunah, afilu kishabayim alav yisurim. Even when, it doesn't say if, because kishabayim, when yisurim come upon him, as ayuchal lenachem atzmai, he can, I'm going to use the word comfort because that's the translation always, but lenachem really means to change his mind. Rashi points that out. Nachama always means hifuch hamachshava.
Vayinochem Hashem al Aro.
Yes, Hashem changed his mind. He switched from midas hadin to midas harachamim. So once you know that, now you understand that regret is not a very accurate translation, nor is comfort. The regret and comfort are toitzois. They are actually the product of changing one's perspective. That's what changing the mind really means. Hafach machshava means he looks at the world differently. I think I may have shared with you, like when Rabbi Akiva is laughing. Was it so inappropriate? He's laughing at this fox going Hashualim holchim by over the Harabais with Shemama. It's in total destruction, and he's laughing. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Lazar, they're crying, and they're tearing their garments. And they say, Rabbi Akiva, why are you laughing? He says, well, why are you crying? So, what do you mean, why are we crying? So after they gave their reason, which is obvious, I'm mourning the destruction of the temple, they said, why are you laughing? He said, well, I'm actually laughing because of the reason that you gave for why you're crying. Because if you have emunah that Hashem promised, if we don't keep his Torah, he's going to bring about destruction. That's in Perek Chavches, very long Perek, and Chavtes in Parshas Kisavai, referring to the destruction of the second temple. Now that you're experiencing the destruction, so you see that the emunah you had in that nevuah is now something you can actually experience. You see the destruction. So now that emunah you had in the nevuah, you have to be consistent with your own logic and have emunah in the future nevuahs, that eventually the Jewish people will come back to the land and will have elderly and young children dancing and singing in the streets. So the lashon they said when they heard this, Akiva nechamtanu. Nechamtanu means you've changed our perspective. Because he was saying, you're crying because you live in the now. I'm laughing because the now is a unfolding of the future when Hashem is going to bring about the last chapter in our story. His story. He's going to bring about last chapter with Kibbutz Galias and the building of Bais Shlishi. So he changed their perspective. So that was the comfort, and that, if you want to call it, the regret of having the wrong perspective. So when Rav Nachman points here that a person has emunah, then when he is struck with Yisurin, as ayuchal lenachem atzmai, he can change his mind, so to speak, and that way get comfort, lahachiyos et asma, and give himself chiyos. He's going through a very difficult relationship, either in the immediate family or extended family, or a horrible fall financially, whatever it is, it doesn't make a difference, because the emunah will remind him God knows what he's doing. His Majesty can do no wrong. Ki Hashem yisbarach yirachim alav, Hashem will have rachamim on him. V'yetiv achrisai, in the end it's going to be good. V'hayisurim hem loy l'toiva. So then how do I look at the Yisurin? It's for my good. The Yisurin is removal of all sorts of debts. In Lashon HaKodesh, you'll find consistently the word Avain and Chet are often translated in Targum, and Targum comes from Har Sinai. It's Gemara in Megillah Daf Gimel. The Targum on Chet is Chayv, and Chayv is a debt. I'm in debt. Every Aveira creates a debt, and I've got to pay that off, either with Teshuvah, that's my Bechira. But Hashem in His kindness, if I don't get to do Teshuvah inside out without being forced, so He'll send me a few irritations, and hopefully the irritations might wake me up, and if those don't, He'll give me a few clubs across the face and who knows elsewhere, and then hopefully I'll wake up. But it's actually to my, for my benefit. Imagine, Chas v'shalom, a person gets an 874-year verdict. He's got to be in jail for 874 years. I actually know someone who got that was a white collar crime, but when he added up all he was to be in jail for 874 years. It's a from yid. Baruch Hashem, he was pardoned by Donald Trump after I think it was 28 years. But 874 is a long time, and even if they commute it down to 120, this wouldn't help too much. But imagine someone's expecting three life sentences and possibly the electric chair, and then the judge says, you know what, I'm giving you three days in jail, and then what? And then you're out, free. So the person's going to be dancing out of the court. Even if he would be given 3 years in jail, he'd be dancing out of court. So all Puranot, all Yisurin is a way for me to pay back the chayv that I've got myself into, my debts, my spiritual debts, my averas. Ula kapara, and it's also a kapara. Kapara means it can get wiped out this way. I can actually get wiped out the averas. Ubasaif yetiv lo. So Hashem's going to be good in the end. Ba'olam hazeh u'ba'olam haba. So that's an attitude that's born from emunah. So that's what Rav Nachman is pointing out. You can save yourself from all sorts of pain. But the question is, do I really believe be'emunah shleima that Hashem is really good to me? So I'm going to take
basically, he interprets the term of emunah now.
Yes.
In komadov drachmon letavo.
Yes, correct. Even when I don't know why, but I know that it's only for the good. And that was Rabbi Akiva again.
So is this emunah, or this is one type of emunah?
It's a manifestation. We're going to see there's lots and lots of levels of Ritzoinus. But the fact that a person relies on this default, the default is Hashem is only good, and he can do no wrong. And that Hashgacha Pratis means that he is supervising every single prat. He never makes a mistake. And even if I'm suffering, or people who I care about are suffering, or Has V'Shalom, a person has a serious loss, maybe Has V'Shalom, a loved one, Rahman San, or a tremendous financial loss, or a huge difficulty with an illness. One doctor once told a guy who's terminally ill, said, I've got good news and bad news, which do you want first? I said, I'll take the good news. So the good news is they're going to name this disease after you. So, there's one guy died. He was dying, and the doctor said, I can't hide the fact that you're extremely ill. Is there anyone you would like to see before you go? He says, yes, I would like to see another doctor.
But how does this differ from what Rav Nachman explains, that this is das?
Right.
To understand Hashem Yolekim.
Yes.
Is das.
Yes.
So how does, if this is emunah, what is das? And
Right.
how do they differ from each other?
Right.
And
So the way you're asking a very fair question, because really this whole what we're doing here is not meant as a deviation from the original Torah that we started with. In the first two paragraphs of Torah Zayin, which is what we're really learning, at the end of Torah Zayin, that's where, the end of paragraph 2 in Torah Zayin, that's where Rav Nachman reveals that the whole purpose of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Tzaddik Emes, coming into this world and then taking us out of Mitzrayim and bringing us to Har Sinai, was in order that 40 years later he would be able to tell us, Ata hareta ledas, you have been shown to know, and now that's something that you experienced. So that's a knowledge you can't undo. You can't undo what you personally witnessed. That's why any fact in history is only established through Re'iyah. It's only established through two first-hand eyewitnesses. And that's why the camera would never be thrown out. Any pictures would have been thrown out of court. I was raised in the generation where there was an expression, the camera never lies. And today there's such a schike, how could we be so stupid to think that? Because no one could cholam that the camera could then be manipulated to change the picture so you can actually come up with anything you want. And today with AI, it's not even, the joke doesn't even start. But today with AI, there's nothing that you can see on a screen that you can use as evidence at any rate that would be counted, because it's only you saw with your own eyes, because you can't undo. And if you've got two people who have the same testimony, that is such a miracle that two people should look at the world the exact same way, that's enough to establish a fact, because people's minds are so different. But the point is, Ata hareta ladas ki Hashem hu Elokim ein oid milvadoi. Now, what do I do with that das? 3 days later, after Har Sinai, we're already complaining, lacking water. Then we haven't got any food. We run out of meat, and after each one, Moshe Rabbeinu has to figure out with Hashem. Okay, we're going to bring down the slav, bring down water from the rock, etc., etc. But it means in Olam Hazeh, even if I've got the das, I know that this Hashem is only good. But Olam Hazeh is going to continue coming at me, and I've got to rely on emunah. And because the das is just not going to cut it.
So
it's not an intellectual realization.
Emunah is always applying, even when you proved it, it's still applying that as if
Yeah.
you didn't prove it.
Yeah.
So what is the emunah? If you proved it, you don't need. You basically you know that Hashem Elokim, and you've seen it, and you've seen simultaneously as HaKadosh Baruch Hu was giving Paranus on one hand, it was meant for schar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you proved it that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Yosef HaTzadik and put him into the dungeon
12 years.
and for the long time,
Right.
And it was all for the purpose. It's something that you lived it, the Dara
Right.
the Dara Midbar, the Dara Yatzim Mitzrayim. They proved it all, and they still needed emunah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which is, what is that emunah? Is that the you cannot ignore something, you know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Your body, our body is in Olam Hazeh. You can't get out. No one escapes Olam Hazeh alive. We're here. We're stuck for 120 years. While we're in this body, the only thing that operates that makes any difference in our lives is what are we thinking, and it's the thinking that decides how I feel and how I act. So if a person's thoughts are, I'm calling it zone 1 is Olam Hazeh, your body's in zone 1, you can't get out. Zone 2 is all the negative thinking. Lo ta'turu achrei levavchem, please don't follow your thoughts. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, follow my thoughts. What are my thoughts? Emunah, betachon, avas Hashem, avas Yisrael, tamimus, tamim tiyem Hashem Elokecha, which we're going to get to hopefully very soon. So when you put all the loita says, which are all to do with the mind, sinna, natira, hatred, resentment, kina, jealousy, everything that's on the negative side, that is zone 2. Zone 3 is the Yetzer Tov. Zone 2 is the fetching zone. Zone 2 is where I'm complaining. Hatred is a complaint, jealousy is a complaint. Why don't I have it? Why don't I have your intelligence? Why don't I have your financial backing? Why don't I have a beautiful family like you, a beautiful wife like yours, etc.? And I'm get stuck in zone 2 where I'm not living in God's reality.
and that can be simultaneously while you know everything. It doesn't contradict.
It's oscillating. It's going back and forth. Yeah, real mental illness is living in zone 2. Mental health is living in zone 3. I oscillate between the two, back and forth, back and forth. So when I get angry, that's zone 2. I am mentally ill. Because anger has to push emunah out of the equation. Right now, God's not here. You make me mad. You drive me crazy. And with that, I'm not living in emunah, zone 3. So that actually is probably the most powerful and obvious litmus test to know where am I. Because Kozman, I still get angry. That is the biggest proof that I'm Mesiach Das from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Chazal, it's a very, very powerful equation that Chazal in Kuf Hey, I think it is in Shabbos, equate avodah zarah and anger as the same thing. That's astonishing. How can that be? Because avodah zarah, and if don't mind me not quoting the Christian translation of idol worship, is not idol worship. Avodah zarah means it's weird. That is weird. Serving the sun, that's weird. The shemesh, his name is Shamash. It's weird. What? There's an Adon. You can only have a Shamash if there's an Adon. So why would I serve the Shemesh, which is a servant, and not the Adon? So why would I ignore Hashem who's sending me this person to provoke my anger, but not to get me angry? It's to invite me to conquer my anger. So when I mess up and I blow it, Hashem says, okay, don't worry, Rietti, I'll give you another chance, and another chance, and another chance. And he keeps sending me different people or the same person to press those anger buttons until I finally get it. Oh, I get it. You're the one who's pressing it, so I'm not getting angry this time. And so that is the only real litmus test of whether Ata hareta ladas ki Hashem hu Elokim ein oid milvadoi. And the next pasuk after Anoich Hashem Elokecha asher tziticha me'eretz Mitzrayim, and that pasuk is a mitzvah of emunah. The next pasuk is Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. Don't have any other powers in front of you. So avodah zara is just weird. It's weird. Why would I make you the one who's controlling my emotions by saying you make me mad? That's weird. You've got the power to make me mad, really? So that's really what it comes down to.
If you believe in Pirunius, is Emunah a coping mechanism?
I'm sorry?
If you believe in Pirunius,
yes,
is Emunah a coping mechanism?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, Puraniot correctly translates as payback. I'm paying back a debt.
Coping mechanism is not the real thing of tranquility.
It's help. I think you can argue it is. So it definitely has the coping mechanism element of it. I think is bonus. The real benefit is the yeshiva das a person can possibly have, knowing that this whole world is a brilliant fake. It's a brilliant illusion, and everything that happens to me is really an invitation for me to change me inside out. The only paradigm is inside out, but Hashem put me in a movie set that looks like it's happening. It looks like it's happening outside in. I'm gonna ask you to turn, if you can, to number 51 in Sichas Aran. I'll touch on this briefly, hopefully. Right at the beginning, it starts just 2 lines, and I'm going to skip a bit. Nun Aleph, 51, paragraph 51, Nun Aleph.
Yud Gimel Shvat.
Ha'olam hazeh, this world eino klum. It really is nothing. Rak limshoich el hatachlis hanitzchi. The only reason you're in this physical world is to be drawn to the eternal purpose. Ve'ein listakel im yeh Eloi mas im lav. Don't even look. Have I got money? Am I making money? Am I not making money? So I'm going to be careful with my words here, but he basically says in this paragraph, it's a very long paragraph, a bit long sikha, but in this particular paragraph, he basically says, there's no nafkamina. Either I will leave my money because I get buried in the ground and I don't take anything with me. There's no point in being the richest man in the graveyard. It doesn't benefit anyone. So either I will be removed from my money, or my money will be removed from me. I lose it in my lifetime. So so that can't be the tachlis hanitzchi. That can't be the purpose for being in this world. So I'm gonna. I don't know if you got it in bold. V'lavod Hashem, about 12 lines down. V'lavod Hashem. Any yodea mi yuchal. I don't know who can honestly say they serve a HaKadosh Baruch Hu according to Hashem's greatness. If someone just knows a little bit of Hashem's greatness, how can he say he's Ovid Hashem? Not even any type of angel is able to make such a boasting claim. I serve Hashem. Rak ha'ika hu ha'ratzon. The only thing that actually really exists is desire, a craving, a deep, deep must. Li yosh ratzon chazak, that his strength is so strong, his desire is so strong, v'takich, and so forceful, tamid, to constantly describe le'alav yisparach, to become close to Hashem. He's got a constant desire, and that's the only thing to really shoot for. Because what a person accomplishes in their learning and avodas Hashem and tefillah, it's limited. But the ratzon, that's unlimited.
So our effort is only to develop that ratzon.
Yes, that's the biggest effort of all.
And this is what we're saying in Krishma.
Yes,
means
that's
that
exactly
that he develops that ratzon.
Yeah.
And the tool to develop that ratzon is to have emunah.
Right.
When he has the emunah, it's going to come. It
right.
looks like it's a reward for having the emunah.
It looks like it. That's bonus.
What you're teaching today. That
Yeah.
So basically, it puts us back that we have to work on the emunah.
Yeah.
The emunah will trigger that rotzen.
So the emunah that Elon Musk can give me anything I ask for in Gashmias. That's really what. How big a person am I making out of this person? How great is Hashem lahavdil in my mind? And if I can ask anything, then I can ask for anything. Please, Shalom, help me break my tivers.
With the Ratzon.
I'll just take this question first. Sorry,
I'm missing what he's saying. What is his point? He's making a point about Ratzon.
The Ratzon is everything, but the entree, the entrance, the access to Ratzon is Emunah. So the two are like feeding each other.
What is Ratzon?
Ratzon means, well, we've translated it as must-have. We usually translate it as want, but it's on a much higher level of just wanting. I just have to have it. It's a very, very high level of desire. It's not just want.
It's like an urge in the corner.
Yeah.
We're positioning Emunah as almost coming at its source when things don't go well. That then turns into sort of the positive manifestation of Ratzon.
Yes, very powerful. Yeah. The
Is
Ikar
it-
Emunah is B'shas HaChag, is when things are hard. The Ikar Avas Hashem, and Ramchal brings this, I think it's near the end of Parak Tes, the Ikar Avas Hashem is B'shas HaChag Betzara. Will I love Hashem b'chol meodecha, b'chol midu mida, shum moed lecha, have moed eloim b'moed moed, ben midat tova, ben midat purianut. So that's the real mivchan ha'emes. I think that's close to the lashon he uses. So he says here, v'labo en yodea. So rak ha'ikar hu ha'ratzon liyos ratzon chazak v'takif tamid. His karev elav yisparach. Go 3 lines down. V'haklal.
You don't want to continue with this?
Okay, we'll finish this. V'afal pisha kol chafetzim. Even though it's really true that everybody really desires v'reitzim and wants lavdo to serve Hashem, because that's your chelik elukam mimal, which the gentleman brought out before. That's the real you. Afal piken, even so, ein kol ratzon shavim. Yeah, thank you. This is very important. Not every ratzon is the same. There's levels and levels and levels of desire, of wanting. V'yesh chilukim rabim beratzon. There are so many differences in one person's ratzon to another person's. Afilu ba'adam echad ba'atzmai. Even one person in himself, b'chol eis, all the time, or b'chol rega, even by moment to moment, yesh chilukim gedolim bein ratzonos. A person can have many levels of what I want. Right now, I missed breakfast. I'm starving, and my mind is stuck on breakfast. I can't wait to get to breakfast. I've got so many things to think about today. I hope the roads are clear so I can get to wherever. And there's so many things in my mind, and that every single thought is a ratzon. Everything we say is a ratzon. That's what I want to say right now. I might regret it, but right now, if I'm saying it, that's a gilui of my ratzon. Everything's a gilui of ratzon, but there's levels of ratzon. Do I want to know Hashem's mitzvahs? That's what Rav Nachman is huge on 2 things: Hispaidus and Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch know what Hashem wants, because that's the Ratzon Abayra. It's huge. That's why it's so important to not just learn without knowing what the halachic applications are, because the greatest manifestation of a person's learning lishma is he wants to know, okay, so then what's the halacha so I can do Hashem's ratzon? So that's the clearest indication that the purpose of the learning is to do the ratzon abayra. So everything is really ratzonos, and if one single person can have different ratzonos all the time. So the first place I need to be is, please, Breslov, give me the right ratzonos for the right things. Please help me to have a ratzon to really miskaber over my cars when so-and-so presses my stress buttons or anger buttons. Help me to get over this. This is ridiculous. I'm 66 years old and I'm still getting angry with the same people. That's mad. That is insane. What is the matter with me? I'm not going to be here forever. When will I ever let go of these silly irritations that I let get under my skin? You know, someone once said, how's your day today? He says, well, under the circumstances, it's pretty good. So he said, what are you doing under the circumstances in the first place? Get up. There's no under. Get up. So the main rule here, she'ika hu haratzon ve'akisufim she'yeh kaisef tamid. The person has Ratzon, desire, kisufim. He'll pay any money. That's where the word kisufim comes from, the word kesef. He'll pay any money. Sheyeh kaisef tamid, they love his spark. He just wants to be close to Hashem. Ubetoichach, in the middle of this constant desire, mispalim v'leimdim, shows mitzvahs, he's davening 3 times a day, but in between it's all Ratzon, and he's learning, but really it's Ratzon. But Oisimus is doing mitzvahs. Ube'emes Levi Kudulasai, now Rav Nosson adds here, according to Hashem's greatness, Kol Elu HaAvodas Einam Klum. All my avodah, davening, learning, doing mitzvahs, they really don't add up to anything according to Hashem's greatness. So what is my only real accomplishment? Rak hakol hu b'der ki'ilu. All of those mitzvahs I'm doing, it's like I'm serving. It's like almost like I'm serving Hashem. Ki hakol hu k'mosh chayk ba'alma k'neged d'lasay yisbarach. I don't know how to say this in Yiddish. Belosh and Ashkenaz.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's like a comedy. So comes along Rav Nachman and is basically saying Ratzon is the only thing that really is really going to cut the difference between one person and another. Surely my Ratzon should come out that I'm doing mitzvahs more and learning. But what's the fuel that's giving us the momentum behind our Torah and our mitzvahs and davening and getting up to daven and how we get up and how we daven? It's all Ratzon. And he ends off this particular piece. I'm just going to end on here. Gam hochmas enam klum, even wisdoms, they really are nothing. Rak tamimus upshitus, only tamimus upshitus. Tamimus means wholesomeness. We're going to see why in a few moments. Upshitus, simplicity. Gam betamimus aso liyashota. But even when a person's being a tam, should not be a fool. Don't watch out for people who are going to manipulate my tamimus. Be very, very, very careful. Baruch Hashem, there are some people who are so tamim that they can't. Nobody can defend them. Nobody, not even themselves. They get in such trouble. So Hashem says, "Okay, I'll take care of him." Hashem, he can't even defend himself. So I'll do it for him. So I'm going to share with you the word tamim comes from the word tam. Tam means complete. That's the lashon of ish tam on Perek Kaf Hey on Yaakov Avinu. It's called an ish tam. Ish tam, says Rashi. What does it mean complete? If something's complete, what was it before it was complete?
Okay.
It's incomplete, it's broken. There are pieces that come together. So what are the pieces that have to come together to make someone a tam? So it reveals Rashi, Kaliboy Kempiv. What he's thinking, therefore feeling, what he's thinking, Kempiv, that's what comes out his mouth. So it comes out that the word tam means congruent. He's consistent. What he's thinking and feeling and acting and saying, it's all one same commercial. Like in the world of commercials, I saw recently there's a I've forgotten the name, Van Edwards or something, I don't remember, that is claiming that it's a minimum of 60% of body language that is the reason why people are buying a product from you. Let's say you're on a TED Talk. So how much of the TED Talk is the actual teichen, the choice of words, versus the way you present it? So when I was growing up in Saatchi & Saatchi, I used to work for Saatchi & Saatchi. They were the largest advertisers in the world. 4 brothers, Rahman son, all married out. Their parents were best friends of my parents. My mother and father both came from Iraq. And that's where my mother was born. So they were friends from childhood, and they stayed that way in London. So Saatchi, Nathan and Daisy Saatchi, Alhem Shalom, they had 4 sons. Unfortunately, none of them married in. But they created the largest, most successful advertising company in the world. They hired psychologists, and didn't we have therapists in those days? But they hired psychologists to identify what are people buying, what's the message that they are hanging on to that's causing them to buy your product. And it's a very important question to answer, because there's billions and billions of dollars hanging on selling products. They, by the way, got Margaret Thatcher into government, onto the Conservative. So it's an advertising company that would be hired to sell in even politics. But the point was that they claim their research showed that 84% of the reason people buy a product is because of body language. And that body language is a title. The subtitles are tone of voice, facial expressions, the body language. That means how a person stands or sits, and the least of all is the choice of words. It's astonishing. So, for example, if I told you there was a grandson of Freud who like no personality whatsoever, but they really liked him, so they used him for commercials. He was totally monotone. So, take Brutus. There was his dog. Cut him up into lots of small pieces. Serve him with ketchup. Delicious. That was the end of the commercial. It sold really well because there was no focus on anything except yeah. So, but they show that when a person's excited about what they're selling, and they mean it sincere, that is being transferred into the mind of and the ears of the listener. So it's a huge piece. How did I get onto this?
Ishtam.
Sorry?
Ishtam.
Ishtam, thank you. It helps when the speaker doesn't understand what he's saying and got someone who's paying attention. So Ishtam means you are completely focused. That was Yaakov. He was completely focused. So Ishtam kalibo kempiv. Look at the Targum on that pasuk. Ish gever. Gever shalem. A complete. Gevar shalem. So shalem is from the same lashon. Shalom means complete. And shalom means complete because before it was shalom, it's different pieces coming together. Rav Nachman talks about that in Torah Pei, where Torah 80, where he talks about the Ikar Shalom is when you meschabesh shnei chafeichem. You take opposites that ordinarily shouldn't coexist, and they coexist. That's real shalom. Oh, so shalom inside a person is when his mind and his mouth and his feelings and his body language are all on the same page. That is a very, very powerful sale. That is role modeling at the highest level. Parenting at the highest level. Espousing at the highest level is where a person really means and feels and thinks, and his body language says so.
So to you, Tanimus is being sincere.
Yeah, 100% sincere. Yes, very well put. Yeah. Now, there are a few people who call Tamim. One of them is Noach. Noach is called Ish Tamim, which is interesting because it's Lashon Rabim. And Ish is Lashon Yachid. Yaakov is called Ish Tam. So how was he Tamim? In how many different contexts was he a Tam? So in Sefer Haredim, it tells us that B'medrash HaNe'elam Zoya Chadash Parshas Noach Lamed Vav Ois Aleph says Shenirmas b'Torah v'Noach matzachein b'nei Hashem. Noach found chen in Hashem's eyes. Kloima al yadei shehaya liboy tamid Noach. His mind was constantly rested. He didn't have pizor nefesh. Pizor nefesh is when the mind is splintered in lots of directions, like ADD, ADHD, and I can't focus on anything for more than a few moments. That is a splintered mind. A tam means that when he's reading, he's paying attention to what he's reading. When he's learning, he's paying attention to what he's learning. He's not looking up to see who's coming in, who's going out, the best medrash. When he's eating, his focus is on the food.
It's present.
He's present in mindfulness. Present. He's living in the now, which is the only place time and place I can ever live in. I think I shared this with you. Rabbi Yaakov of Greenwald shared this with me, but he's no longer alive, so I can't check with him. But he told me there was a Talmud of a Rebbe who was once asked, "What's the greatest thing your Rebbe ever did?" Did I tell you this? It's a fantastic answer. He said, "The greatest thing my Rebbe ever did was whatever he was doing in that moment." You're davening, you're focused on learning, focused on learning. You're speaking with your wife, speaking with your wife. I think I shared with you my, this is from last week. I sometimes wonder if you hear a single word I say. So, being present is very important. But the main thing is, he's with his child, he's not on the phone. He's playing ping pong. Yeah, he's on the phone while he's playing ping pong. No, I'm still playing ping pong with my kid. Yeah, but you said you're going to focus. I'm playing. Where's my mind? My body might be playing ping pong. Where's my mind? So comes on Yaakov Avinu Ish Tam. Noach was Ish Tzadik Tamim Haya B'Dorosav. Tamim in all aspects of his interfacing with the world. So comes along Sefer Haredim. This is in Perek Tes Ois Mem Beis at the end. Noach matzachein be'enei Hashem. How do you find chen in Hashem's eyes? He was called a tamim. Kloima al yadei shehaya liboy tamid Noach umiyushav matzachein be'enei Hashem. His mind was constantly calm. D'chol naicha mesitra tikdusha. Every calmness comes from the side of kedusha. V'kol rugza, every anger, frustration, irritation, misitrat misava, comes from the side of tuma. Uketiv batre. After that it says Eila told us Noach, and it says Noach. He gave birth to himself, and the answer is yes. He gave birth to himself. Shalosh pamim says Ish tzadik haya b'torasav es Elokim mishalech Noach. So that's the third time. Eila told us Noach. And then Esailikim is halech Noach. So you see 3 times in one pasuk. Why 3 times? Shemitoch sheliboy Noach umyushav me'oid. Here Noach b'diburai. He was calm with the words that came out of his mouth. Noach b'hiluchai, with his body, whether it's walking, sitting. Noach b'maisav, and all his actions. V'afal pish eina mikras yotzim b'tei pshutan. Even though the pasuk doesn't mean it, those words. Derech remez ne'emar b'hem Moshe Sinai kol elu advarim. But all these were recorded by Moshe Rabbeinu from Har Sinai, so it's in the Pshat. But the concept of being tamim was he was real, really sincere, totally sincere, completely congruent. So you knew what you got when you were interfacing with such a person, and that's a real science.
And how did he develop this?
So how do you develop tamimus?
And how did he not encourage anybody to join him with that sincerity?
So he did. He actually did try. His sons, to a large extent, at least 2 of them, succeed in going in his ways, especially Shem. Yafis to some extent, but Ham kind of blew it later on. But those were his immediate sphere of influence was worthy of being saved with him. So that was his 3 sons, his 3 son-in-laws, and his wife. So those 8 people in the Teva were the only ones influenced L'Taiv out of the whole generation, and he was super famous. He was probably the most famous person in the world. Before the Mabul, he was the one who invented the plow, and he invented other farming utensils, which meant he would have won every Nobel Prize that was out there. So that's why they thought this is you're so much sugar. You're building a huge box on top of a mountain. You're gone senile. You're absolutely gone out of your mind. So he would tell them, I'm building it because Hashem said I'm going to destroy the world if they don't do teshuvah. But no one listened, only his immediate family.
What comes to show is that the world is not buying sincerity.
Yes. The neshama does, but if a person's neshama has been so stained, so to speak, with listening to the fake news and the mad messages of the media, which is life is something to fear. Accidents happen, and before I know it, anti-Semitism is eating away at my thoughts, and I'm worried that what's going to be, etc., etc. And Hashem doesn't want me to live like that. Bitachon Emunah really means Hashem's running the world. In which case, the biggest test of my Emunah is when things don't look like they're running too well. And Hashem says, don't worry, I'm here equally as I am in any other situation that you can probably fathom. I'm gonna switch slightly, but I hope you're gonna see why this is totally relevant. This might even help answer your question. So what? How do you get to all this? So here's some chametz, some bread, and the question I'm going to ask is, what is needed for you to be able to have 1 kazayas of bread, just to make the bracha and put this in your mouth? What's needed?
1 slice.
You need 1 slice, and in the biggest picture possible, what besides the slice, what's needed to be able to create bread, to have bread in the first place?
Wheat. No.
You need wheat. Now these are seeds. They're not obviously wheat seeds, but you need seeds. And what do you do with the seeds? You plant them in the
ground.
Oh, so you need soil. Does the soil? Do you just put the seed there, or do you have to till the soil first?
Till the seed.
You need to till the soil. So is it one farmer who's going to provide bread for the whole world? No, of course not.
No.
So you've got thousands and thousands, probably tens, hundreds of thousands of farmers around the world, and they don't do it all alone. They've got assistants. They've got people who are helping them. So they till the soil and provide. But what else do you need besides? What are you going to need next? You need rain. You need water.
Yeah.
You need water to reach the topsoil.
We need
so
a
that,
nasty day.
Sorry?
We need a nasty day.
You need a nasty day, yeah. And you need rain. So how are you going to get the rain? Well, rain comes down from the clouds. Oh, so you need clouds. And where did the clouds get their rain? Sham Mayim. Shamayim is made up of water. How did it get up there? Samayim. It went up. This is Gemara in Chalkika Daf Yud Beis. 3 parts to the word Shamayim. Sham Mayim. Samayim. It lifts up. How does it lift up? How do you get? Water is very heavy. How do you get it? Oh, you need this. The water will come down. You can artificially water your. You need the oceans to provide all the water, and then the oceans. How do you get the oceans up into the skies? The oceans provide rivers. You need this big ball of fire, this huge ball of fire called the local sun, only 93 million miles away, beating its heat down on the oceans and forces the water to evaporate.
Billion? Did you say billion?
Million.
Million.
Yeah. You remind me, there was a guy who's sitting in the back of a lecture, and the lecturer said, the world's going to come to an end, and the guy said, what did you say? When did you say it's going to come to an end? He said, in 100 million years. I said, oh, I thought you said 100 billion. So anyway, you need wind to blow the clouds away from the oceans in order that they will reach the mainland. I got plenty of water on the oceans. I don't need more water there. So how are you going to get these clouds containing rain to the mainland? Oh, you need wind to blow the rain clouds. And then you need mountains at the mainland to force the rain clouds to rise and cause precipitation because they condense at a certain colder temperature, and then comes back down rain. And the rain will make your beautiful wheat grow. And then you need to harvest it. And the question then is, do you think this is a beautiful world? Yes or no? Sure. Is this a beautiful world?
Sure.
It's a beautiful world. The first Apollo space astronauts that went outside and saw a planet Earth from outside planet Earth, they called it Blue Beauty, and that name has stuck because there's extraordinary blue halo, so to speak, around planet Earth. This is a beautiful world. Why is it a beautiful world?
As a human being, that's it.
Because of chesed. All that Hashem is doing for us is pure chesed. Chesed kal kol hayom. David HaMelech, how did he spend his first 28 years? In total rejection from his family, total rejection, except from his mother. He was totally rejected. How did he spend 28 years? Shepherd. And as a shepherd, what was he seeing all the time, day and night? Teva. He saw Hashem's perfect nature. And in that, he couldn't help notice, what is the makar? What's the true source of the rainfall? The rain clouds. Oh, gravity. Gravity is an invisible power. It's the invisible hand of Hashem, Kaviyachol. And David HaMelech couldn't help be in love with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. He was so in love with the Kodesh Baruch Hu for one reason. He would say, this world is really good. How good is good? Ki le'olam chasdei. Your world is so perfectly good, it's endlessly good. Endlessly good. So how does it all come about? So he saw, you Hashem, you're the power of all powers. This picture here is the picture I depict for Hashem being the power of all powers. You've got one power, so to speak, that powers the sun, water, wind, and gravity. See this poor gentleman over here? So Hashem is the one power of all powers. Is this world a beautiful world? It's a beautiful world. David HaMelech was drunk with simcha. He could not get out of his mind how good Hashem is all the time. And Hashem created this universe, this world, and Adam HaRishon, the first man, when he was conscious, and he saw Toivas HaGeshem. Only after he saw Toivas HaGeshem, the purpose of rain brings down everything. All the Gashmis comes from Geshem. Everything in Gashmis, wood, the wooden table, if it is made of wood, all comes from the trees, which come from a seed that is grown because of the water that comes into the topsoil. Everything is such a perfect world. David HaMelech couldn't get out of his mind how much Hashem loves him. So that no matter how many times he was beaten and smashed and thrown to the ground, he got up every time saying, Ki le'olam chasdei, your kindness is forever. And only after Adam HaRishon recognized Toivas HaGeshem, that's when he was mispalel, because tefillah is what causes everything. So really Hashem created this whole universe for us to turn back to Hashem. How strongly will we do that? Depends on our Ratzon. How strong will our Ratzon be? So I close to have one kazayas of bread. Imagine this farmer. He worked really hard. He really worked very hard, plowing the ground and tilling it and planting and harvesting. He waited for the weather to come and grow all his... And now he brings the flour to his wife. She grinds the wheat into flour and makes dough with water and add a little bit of salt, puts it in the oven, and out comes this gorgeous sourdough, and he makes the bracha hamaitzi. Now hamaitzi is you're the only one who took it out of the ground. Hamaitzi lechem min haaretz. And his wife says, "Excuse me, I sacrificed plenty for you to get up every morning way before dawn, and you were working so hard. How do you give Hashem all the credit? Hamaitzi." So the whole purpose of food is to not live. Hashem could have made us take in one breath of a cocktail of oxygen, and all the nutrients that you and I need, our physical bodies would require, would be inside the air. And all of that could have been all that we needed. But Hashem, no, He wanted that we would actually work the land and recognize we need Him for everything. So all turns back to Ratzon. But the point that David HaMelech helped was, what's the biggest message Hashem is saying with all that He's doing for us? What is the biggest message?
Kindness.
Sorry?
Kindness.
Kindness. And what's the message behind the kindness?
Understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with us.
And why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do all this for us?
He loves us.
Because of His love for us. So that's what we're going to see. Bezrat Hashem in Torah Lamed Gimel will reference it, where he quotes, I mentioned it last week, a pasuk from Yirmiyahu, Parak Lamed Aleph, pasuk base, which says, Ahavas Olam Ahavtich. I have loved you with an unlimited love. Where? I suffer so much in this marriage, so much from this kid, so much from my parnasa, so many struggles. And Hashem said, well, are you paying attention to all the good as well? Because if you pay attention to all the good, you cannot fail to notice how good I am, and how good this world is, and how beautiful this world is, and how much chesed is taking place in this gorgeous, gorgeous world. But it all comes down to, am I paying attention to Nukudos Davis? Because each one of them on its own is enough for a person to get drunk with simcha. Da Hashem, you love me so much. Al ken mashachti chesed. That's the end of the pasuk. That's why I shower you with kindness.
Chesed is that this is why I actually involve you into chesed, that you have to do all this and we have to eat and we...
Yeah, it's all excuse.
Mashachti
chesed.
That we should...
Yeah. Baruch Tiyah.
So we're going to elaborate on how to develop tneinah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Baruch Tiyah.
Hanukkah, everybody.
Oh yeah.